Good afternoon, everybody. Ben Jones here. Severe thunderstorm warnings are out. It's all for the same cell, though. And this one has been quite a hail producer, and this is also on a day when there is no Storm Prediction Center outlook for severe weather. The main thinking has been that this would be sort of just normal garden variety thunderstorms today, but this one is quite the updraft. So it is a hail producer, severe thunderstorm warning for Taylor and Crawford until 4:30. Let me show you the hail core. Usually with these storms of late, they've been kind of popping up and then collapsing pretty quickly. That is not the case with this one yet. So as it's been going mainly to the west and northwest of Butler, now north of Butler, heading toward the northeast, it's fluctuated between 1 inch to nearly 2 inch almost in diameter hail, probably 1.5 inches somewhere in there. Let me pause it in a couple of these areas here. Let's zoom in. And so there's Butler, so there's 19. And notice as I go back how it's kind of fluctuated. Let's see where it is now. Looks like we're still at around 1 inch in diameter, but back here, crossing over Highway 19, this was, again, getting up there over quarter size hail, near ping pong ball size hail with some of this. And still the potential for that as we are now heading toward Fickling Mill, that area, 137 and 208 coming together. And they're not far from crossing the river into Crawford County here in just a little bit. So if this holds together on this track, it might be a little bit northwest of Roberta. And again, some of these storms this week, actually all of them, have had, if they've had a severe thunderstorm warning attached to them, they usually have not lasted very long because the hail core will get up and going and then sort of fall apart pretty quickly. Here's the big map, just to show you that the storm we're seeing, the complex in Jones, Jasper, Putnam, Baldwin, and Hancock, that is not severe. They're just normal thunderstorms there. Same thing in Monroe County. So it is really just this cell. And again, it's mainly because of that hail core. The hail core impressive on that storm. And of course, anytime you have a severe thunderstorm warning, you're going to have some gusty winds possible. Let's see. 60 mile per hour winds possible there. And again, with the hail, anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inches maybe in diameter. So one of the main reasons for the issuance there of that warning. Goes until 4:30. You see two different polygons there. That's because one of them is expiring in less than a minute. That's that one on the left there. Sorry, I'm trying to look at a few things at the same time here. So let's do a pause, leave it on where it is now. So this warning here goes until 4:15. That was the original one that was issued, and you can see with the shape of that polygon, it originally had the storm going in this direction. Then the Weather Service is like, this thing's kind of making a little bit of a right turn here. So let's take the same cell, but issue the warning going out in this direction now. So you'll see the one on the left in about 15 seconds. Actually longer than that because this computer time is not caught up to real time. Real 4:15 is about to come up. So at some point that one on the left will drop off. So this one is irrelevant. It's this one right here. So that is where that storm, if it continues, will roll on into Crawford County here shortly. As we do a track of this. Well, let me check the motion of the storm and see about the speed of in which direction this storm is heading. They're usually been pretty slow here this week, so let's see here. The motion of the storm is to go northeast at 10 miles per hour, so not going very fast here. And really the polygon's kind of shaped east-northeast here, so we're going to go northeast at around 10. So again, slow mover, and really all it's going to show us is that Fickling Mill area right there. So another thing with these storms today is because of the slow movement of them, they could have a little bit of a flooding situation because putting down a pretty good bit of rainfall in a short amount of time. So the rain could kind of puddle up in some of these spots. So if you're in that Fickling Mill area, if you know where that is, because sometimes we zoom in on the radar and it pulls up old names for communities that no one even calls it that anymore. But maybe there is a spot there in Taylor County that has that. But just pay attention to where the highways are there. 137, already past 19. And not far from crossing over into Crawford County here in just a little bit. Let's do a new hail check and see if that core is still there. And as we look also while we're here, you can see that there was a little bit of a hail core here in Jones County. This is the kind of storm I've been talking about. Gets up and going for a little bit and then just falls apart. This one is not really getting the memo just yet. It does look like the hail core is a little smaller than it was. You can see when we got into the green shaded areas, that's when we're looking at maybe 1.5 inches in diameter with some of those hailstones. All right, so what we're looking for is that hail core to get smaller in size, but also to start seeing more of these colors, smaller and smaller hail. So the more we can get down into the orange and sort of brownish shaded area, that means the hailstones are getting smaller, which generally shows a decrease in the intensity of the storm. So far that looks better, but still putting down at least inch in diameter hail in some spots. So this one's been running for a little bit out there. Again, longer than the other storms that we've had this week. They haven't been lasting very long, but this one's showing off a little bit out there. Let's look at the big picture. And once again, you can see the vast majority of us not seeing anything. Let's change this up to... All right, I'm trying to adjust the speed of the loop here. Just making a couple of adjustments here. All right, Marcia says Butler is getting a lot of rain. All right, I bet. But north or west of town earlier, now north of Butler, should still have some hail in there. So if you're anywhere on the west side or northwest side of Butler, let us know if you've seen hail there. I'm sure, just like some of the other storms we've had today, there are some pictures or videos of that out there. Fair amount of lightning with it too, so making a little bit of a racket as it's continuing its quest toward Crawford County. Our David Guerrero just now texting me. He is actually headed to Taylor County in an ironic twist today for his live shot. To talk strawberries. He just sent me a picture. He's heading into the storm. Looks like he's doing fine with that. See, somebody says, how fast is it moving? It's not moving very fast. That's part of the issue here as far as a lot of rain coming down in a short amount of time. It's only moving at around 10 miles an hour. And again, it's going in the direction of the way these polygons are shaped. You know, they kind of flare out one side like this. So the center of it is like this. This is the direction that it's going. So that's how to read a polygon, is to know the wider end is the direction that it's going. It's shooting out like a megaphone. So if this holds the way it's going now, this eventually would go into South Bibb, but it's got to go all the way across Crawford first. And again, it may weaken down some between now and then. Let's see. The hail map, that's a lot better looking. You can see for yourself, notice the brighter colors, and then as we get, this is the loop starting over again, and as we get closer to the end of the loop, now we're getting more down into pea-size hail. So you can see here, you know, the higher up you go, the bigger the stones. So inch and a half in here, which is what we've been seeing in some of the green shaded areas here. But as it's been getting closer toward Crawford County over the past few scans, we're seeing smaller and smaller hail. So hopefully that's an indication that this thing is at least losing some of its punch. But the warning does go until 4:30. Let's see about, if we can, it can be hard to see out there, but see if we can get an indication of the wind and some of that. It's hard to tell on that, but I think you could have 50 plus, maybe 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Maybe, you know, not as much now since the hail core seems to be coming down some, but at one point when it was at its highest, we could have seen winds like that. But still, the lightning hasn't really fallen out of it just yet. It does look like it's trying to scatter out and widen out just a little bit, which hopefully this will be one that just sort of washes itself out. A couple people won't know if will it head to Macon. Would it be bad when it hits South Macon? The way these storms have gone this week, I would say there's a decent chance that it will not be by the time it gets there, because already we're looking at the hail core, the hailstones getting smaller. So again, that's usually an indication that the storm is trying to collapse a little and maybe weaken some. Yep. This is the one I wanted right there. There we go. All right, let's check the hail again. And what we're seeing here is interesting. The main part where the storm was going through, that is weakening down, but now blossoming here south of Butler. So that's getting up to around an inch in diameter on the south side of town there. So that's interesting. This part weakening, this part kind of strengthening a little bit there. And again, the movement is kind of east-northeast, but again, kind of crawling too. It's only east-northeast at around 10 miles an hour, so really not making a whole lot of movement out there. So once again, if you're in Butler, you had some hailstones on the west side and north side of town, now on the south side of town. So there's Butler proper, so just in downtown. As you get on out, County Road 247, Bethel Church Road, already passed there. Oak Street, McDougal Drive, Main Street, eventually just kind of grazing underneath the south side of Butler. A lot of folks doing the whatabouts. What about this place? What about that place? Just an overview. We're just in one of those afternoons where a pop-up shower storm could happen at any time. Most of these will not be severe today, but there could be one or two that have some hail in them. The only one that we're concerned with right now is what's going on in Taylor County. Everybody else, if you're having thunderstorms or if it looks like it's going to rain or whatever, it's not severe. McRae, no, not getting any. Milledgeville, question about Milledgeville. Let's see, there's some rain in Milledgeville right now, but none of that. So this is the only part. So kind of look and see where you are on the map. That is the only storm of any concern, is the one that's in Taylor County, and it's because of hail. Upson County, Monroe County, Jasper, Putnam, Jones, Baldwin, Hancock, Washington, all that rain is just regular old rain and thunderstorms. We did see some small hail briefly in Jones County earlier. Haven't seen any lately, not enough for there to be a warning issued there. We can go back and check. And you can see what I'm talking about. If you look up here, this is that storm, and notice as it's been coming across, it had a hail core and then it fell apart. So that's the way these storms have been operating this week. This one it's kind of split. So that part is weakening there, and this part is kind of flaring up a little bit. So the warning technically goes for 4 more minutes. Shane says Forsyth is about to get it. River Forest looking dark. Yes, but I do want to point out that is not a severe thunderstorm there. And we don't see any hail in that. But you will get some rain out of it. And some rumbles. Rain and rumbles. That's what most of this is today. Just checking the chat here. Well, it looks like they're going to allow this to expire at 4:30. Either that or they already expired it at 4:22. I can't quite decide there. So we'll just wait until 4:30 here. So for just a few more minutes. It looks like that warning will be let go. So let's stop it here, and you can see what I'm talking about. We'll take the lightning off. What I'm talking about, that it's kind of split. So this is the original part of the storm that had the hail core that was pretty large, maybe 1.5 inches in diameter. That has been kind of weakening down, and then this has become more of the, I don't know, the more substantial hail producer right now. Having said that, let's go back and check on the hail map. And yeah, you can see what I'm talking about with that. Notice how this one was the big dog right here. That one's weakened down on the scale here, smaller hailstones, whereas this part of it is kind of flared up and it's still sitting close to 1 inch in diameter, just to the southeast, east of town in Butler. And there's actually a little spot of maybe over 1 inch in diameter in the green. So it's kind of going past Butler. It's cruising over 540. And it looks just like it's going to stay, if it stays like it's doing, north and west of Reynolds, kind of running like this. What's up, Fred? All right. Let's go back big picture again. Just again, if you're wondering about your area, anything, if your tag on the back of your car does not say Taylor County, you do not have severe weather. You have regular showers and storms, this kind of garden variety stuff. Rain and rumbles, as I call it. We have seen an occasional hail core, kind of small in Jones County a little while ago, that is moving north, this part right here, but that looks like that hail core has come down in size. It is just this cell here. And again, moving pretty slowly, only kind of east, northeast at around 10 miles an hour. Okay. Technically, because again, our computer time is not set to real time, but 4:30 here in the studio. So technically that warning has expired and they haven't issued anything else. But it won't drop off the map here for another minute or two because the computer thinks it is 4:29. Okay, so there is a look at that hail core still there. The main one, again, is weakened down some. This one's still putting down 1 inch in diameter. So technically we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning now that this one has expired. So I'm waiting to hear if we hear the familiar ding sound in the studio in a minute to see if another one gets issued. Otherwise, once that polygon drops off, we will say that there is no severe weather for right now, and I will have to go get ready for the old 5 o'clock show. Okay, there goes the polygon. That's fallen off. So technically, unless they pull the trigger on another one, which I could sort of see them doing, we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning. I mean, that shows still the potential for inch in diameter hail here. So what we're going to do is we're going to end this stream. I'm going to put the finishing touches on getting the show ready. If I have to pop back on, I will do another one. Otherwise, I will see you at 5 o'clock.